Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Range-bound session on Dalal Street. The Nifty holds 25,900. The sensex underperforms. IT stocks under pressure. Auto stocks provide some solace to the Nifty benchmark index. The White House revises its fact sheet on the proposed India-US trade deal within 24 hours, drops pulses from the list of US products on which tariffs would be reduced, changes the $500 billion purchase commitment to an intent to buy. The portion claiming that India has agreed to scrap digital services taxes has been removed as well. M&M reports a steady quarter. Auto and farm business volumes grow by 27% on a yearly basis. The group's consolidated revenue crosses the 50,000 crore rupee milestone for the first time. BHEL shares nosedive on a day one of its offer for sale. The government aims to raise close to 4,500 crore rupees by divesting up to 5% equity in the PSU. This includes a 2% green true option. The floor price for the OFS has been set at 8% discount to yesterday's closing price. The government clarifies on its new IT rules that make prominent labelling of AI-generated content mandatory, announces a 3-hour compliance window for government takedown orders and 2-hour deadline for removal of nude images. Also highlights that routine editing of photos PDF using AI need not be flagged as AI-generated. Higher pilot-to-aircraft ratio and a higher crew buffer enables Indigo to comply with the new crew rostering norms after a 2-month leeway. The airline on an average now has 7 pilot-officer pairing per aircraft versus 6 earlier. Sources tell us that Indigo's pilot utilization and not headcount was the core issue behind the major disruption faced in December. Trump issues a fresh threat to Iran, warns them of aggressive actions if the country fails to reach a deal on an issue ranging from nuclear enrichment to ballistic missiles. Reports say Trump plans to send a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East. Lok Sabha leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi accuses Prime Minister Modi of selling the nation over the India-US trade deal. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Rijiju rejects charges, hails Modi as the strongest Prime Minister, vows to file a privilege motion against Gandhi unless he authenticates the charges made inside the Lok Sabha by the evening. Paramount Skydown sweetens its offer for Warner Brothers Discovery amidst repeated attempts at a hostile takeover. Offers shareholders a quarterly ticking fee of 25% per share, but keeps its headline bid unchanged at $30 a share. 9 dead, dozens hurt after an assailant opens fire at a school in Western Canada, making it one of the deadliest shootings in the country's history. The suspect was found dead from a self-inflicted injury. Well, let's start with the day's market action. Dalal Street ending the day flat after a volatile session, with the Nifty ending above the 25,950 mark. Auto stocks led the race today, while IT stocks continue to be under pressure. Just about in the green, that's the Nifty for you. The sensex closing 40 points lower, 118 points higher there on the Nifty Bank, and the Nifty Mid-Cap Index also closing just about in positive territory. Prashant is standing by to wrap up the day's market action for us. Fairly choppy, fairly volatile off its intraday lows, but finally closing flat, Prashant.
A quieter day after 2 days of very, very decent moves. So Monday, of course, was big. Yesterday, was up. The market was up. But as we pointed out, right at the word go, the close right at the open, usually it's in technical terms, it's called a doji. The open and the close are the same and indicate some sort of wariness, exhaustion, whatever you want to call it. And I think today we followed through in that same kind of fashion. So 20 points. Higher, 25,950 or so is where we ended. Mid-cap and small-cap indices absolutely flat, nothing very much. The IT index, of course, came under some more selling pressure. It's not as if after the earlier episode of severe selling, which was last week, they had any large bump up or gains. It just sort of, sell off, consolidation, and then, another leg down. And that's what we saw with, and you look at the large stocks which were off on the Nifty, TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, all down. There's also Coal India, Eternal, which saw some profit booking. ITC's done well recently from the lows. That also gave up gains. On the upside, Eicher Motors was the big one. Apollo was the other one. So both earnings reactions. Apollo, of course, the management was with us. SBI followed through with another 3.5% gains. Superb numbers, of course, earlier. And there was Max Healthcare, which has been seeing a bit of profit booking, and that came back up.
All right, Prashant, many thanks. Now, the White House has revised its fact sheet on the proposed India-US trade deal. All of this within the last 24 hours. Now, the word pulses has been dropped from the list of US products on which tariffs would be reduced in the overnight revision. It has been replaced with the phrase, and I quote, a wide range of US food and agricultural products. In the updated document, the phrase about India's commitment to buy $500 billion of American products has also been changed to, and I quote, an intent to buy. The portion in the earlier fact sheet claimed that India has agreed to scrap digital services taxes. That has been removed as well. So that's the latest there on the US-India trade deal. US Trade Representative Jameson Greer has said that India could be a potential way station for US supply chains. In an interview with Fox News, Greer said that India was a viable option for companies seeking to diversify away from China. He also said that India had started winding down purchases of Russian energy products and ramping up purchases of American energy. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is likely to meet exporters and industry associations later this evening. Industry sources say the meeting will be aimed at discussing the contours of both the trade deal signed with the US and the EU. We'll, of course, be tracking that. On to earnings now. M&M's Q3 numbers in line with estimates. Net profit up 33%. Revenue rose 26% on an annual basis. Sudarshan is standing by to take us through the fine print. M&M details, Sud?
With Mahindra & Mahindra, an RaGa company has come out with Q3 FY26 earnings. Both the segments, auto and farm segment, have been seeing healthy volume growth. It was up 23% YY in Q3 FY26. That has helped company to report a double-digit revenue growth. On the consolidated basis, Mahindra Group has reported revenue of more than 50,000 crore for the first time ever. Now, on the standalone basis, profit was up 33%. Revenue has increased by 26%. EBITDA too has seen a jump of 27%. And margin was in line with expectations and has come at 14.7%. Going forward in FY26, companies expecting tractor industry to see a growth in the range of 20 to 24%. Even SUV is going to see a healthy growth because the demand for the recently launched vehicles remains strong.
Sid, many thanks. Shares of EV maker Ather Energy declined in trade after nearly 33 lakh shares worth 233 crore rupees changed hands via block deal. Sources say the National Investment Infra Fund, the NIIF, was likely to sell up to 1.9% stake in the company. The stock closing almost 2% lower. Shares of BHEL tanking nearly 6% in trade. This after the government launched an offer for sale to divest up to 5% stake in the company. Under the OFS, the government will sell 3% stake initially with an option to offload an additional 2% stake in case of oversubscription. The floor price has been fixed at 254 rupees a share. Indian artificial intelligence firm Fractal Analytics' 2,800 crore rupee IPO was oversubscribed on the final day of bidding. This was led by robust demand from qualified institutional buyers section, followed by non-institutional investors. That's the Fractal IPO for you. Chinese automaker BYD has sped ahead of Ford Motors in global sales last year. This for the first time ever. Ford sold nearly 200,000 fewer cars than BYD as its sales fell 2%. With this, the Chinese auto company is now at the number 6 spot in the global sales rank. While Ford's US sales increased last year, the company lost ground in Europe and China, a significant milestone there for BYD. Higher pilot-to-aircraft ratio and a higher crew buffer enables Indigo to comply with the new crew rostering norms after a 2-month leeway. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Indigo's pilot utilization and not head count was the core issue behind the major disruptions that it faced in December. Shivani joins us now with the details. Shivani, what are the changes that Indigo has made that has allowed it now to comply with the new flight duty timing norms?
Well, yes, Indigo is back in full compliance with the flight duty time limitation norms. And the question today is, what has changed since December when they were exempted from these norms? Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the airline has actually raised crew deployment to 7.2 crew sets per aircraft in February. This is up sharply from under 6 per aircraft in November, December. One crew set, remind you, is one captain and one first officer, so 2 pilots. At 7.2 sets across 350 active aircraft, Indigo needs over 5,000 pilots to operate compliantly. Government data as of December 8th shows that the airline already has 5,000 plus pilots, which is 5,085 pilots on its roll already. So the pilots were always there. Headcount was not a problem. Utilization was. When the DGCA tightened night duty and rest norms in November, effective availability dropped. Indigo was operating at under 6 crew sets per aircraft, leaving almost no buffer in the system. Zero cushion whatsoever. So when duty hour caps were hit or sick leaves rose or weather disrupted schedules, cancellations snowballed and cascaded effects that we saw in December. Now, aviation experts say that resilient operations require 7 to 8 crew sets per aircraft. So by moving from under 6 to 7.2, Indigo has finally built back the operational breathing room. So it looks like Indigo is back on the FDTL track as of now.
All right, Shivani, many thanks for joining us. Up next, the government clarifies on its new IT rules that make prominent labelling of AI-generated content mandatory. That and more when we return. Now, the government has issued a clarification on its new digital content rules that make prominent labelling of AI, that's artificial intelligence-generated content, compulsory. The government has highlighted that routine editing of photos, PDF using AI need not be flagged as AI-generated. Ashmit joins us now with more details. Ashmit, take us through what the government is saying in its FAQ on the use of digital content.
Well, the government expanding on the scope of the notified rules that were put out yesterday and clarifying as to how and when these rules can be implemented. Firstly, as far as synthetic media or AI-generated content, the government defines it as per the FAQs by saying media that is defined that can appear like a real person or a real event that can possibly deceive a person into believing that it is real. That is something that will then qualify as AI-generated or synthetic content. But having said that, what is not on the government's radar are routine edits that you and I may make while clicking a photo, adding a filter to that photo, using AI for editing of PPTs, or for editing PDFs. That is permissible, that can continue. No reason for concern there. However, the focus area for the government will be AI-generated content, especially illegal content. So what qualifies as illegal? Well, child pornography, obscene content, vulgar content. We'd seen only a few days back, Grok had been generating sexually inappropriate images. Images like those, content like that is something that the government is keen on targeting by way of these latest regulations. Not just that, the AI companies are also required to prominently label all content that is being generated via their platforms. It should have a very prominent label displaying that this content is synthetically generated or generated using AI tools. But that's not all. The rules also require social media companies to shoulder a part of that responsibility. The social media companies on their part will also have to verify whether content that is being uploaded by users is AI generated, and if it is suitably labeled as well. That responsibility will rest on the shoulders of social media companies. But having said that, there's more to it. The rules also prescribe for a tighter timeline that social media companies will have to work with. In case of nude images, that has to be taken down within 2 hours. Earlier, the deadline was 24 hours. In case of government takedown orders, that has to be actioned within a 3-hour time frame. Earlier, the time window that had been allowed to social media companies was 36 hours. So clearly a tightening of the time frame as well with respect to AI-generated or synthetic content.
All right, Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. The standoff in Parliament continues. Lok Sabha Leader of the Opposition, Rahul Gandhi, accusing Prime Minister Modi of, and I quote, selling the nation over the India-US trade deal. Speaking in the Lok Sabha today, he claimed India's strategic autonomy is under pressure and that key decisions on energy and economic policy are being influenced by global power dynamics. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Rijiju rejected Gandhi's charges, hailing Prime Minister Modi as India's strongest Prime Minister. Speaking at a press conference later, he vowed to file a privilege motion against Rahul Gandhi unless he authenticates the charges made inside the Lok Sabha by the evening.
You have sold India. Are you not ashamed of selling India? Yes. Do you have no shame of selling India? You have sold our mother, Bharat Mata. Do you have no shame? But sir, the interesting thing is, I know that the Prime Minister would not sell India under normal circumstances. He will not do it. You know why he sold India? because they are choking him.
Mr. Rahul, address to the chair, please.
He has sold India because they are choking him. They've got a grip on his neck.
आज तक कोई माइके लाल पैदा नहीं हुआ जो भारत को सेल कर सकता है, कोई खरीद सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है। और आपने प्रधानमंत्री जी को कहा, मैं दावे के साथ कहता हूं, इस देश का आज तक सबसे मजबूत प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी है।
Well, fireworks in Parliament. President Trump has issued a warning to Iran again. Trump hinting at aggressive action if Iran does not adhere to the US's demands. Speaking to a news channel, Trump said, and I quote, "Either we reach a deal or we will have to do something very tough," end of quote. This comes after the Trump administration sent a large fleet of warships towards Iran. Reports say that Trump also plans to send a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East.
As you know, we have a massive flotilla right now going over to Iran. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal. I think they'd be foolish if they didn't. We took out their nuclear power last time, and we'll have to see if we take out more this time. They want to make a deal. They wouldn't talk to anybody else, but they're talking to me. But, you know, it's a good question. A lot of people say no. And I would say that I'd rather make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. No nuclear weapons, no missiles, no this, no that, all the different things that you want. But some people worry that they've been very dishonest with us over the years, right?
Now, Paramount Skydance has sweetened its offer for Warner Brothers Discovery amidst repeated attempts at a hostile takeover. It has offered shareholders a quarterly ticking fee of 25 cents a share. Paramount has also said it will fund the $2.8 billion termination fee that Warner Brothers would owe Netflix if the deal falls through. However, Paramount has kept its headline bid unchanged at $30 a share. 9 dead, dozens hurt after an assailant opened fire at a school in Western Canada, making it one of the deadliest shootings in the country's history. The suspect was found dead from a self-inflicted injury. As New Delhi prepares to host the India AI Impact Summit 2026, hotel room prices in the national capital are going through the roof. In some cases, staying in the city to attend the entire 4-day event could cost upwards of 1 crore rupees, and that's just for accommodation. Timsy Jaipuri reports that this unprecedented surge in hotel tariffs has prompted the Tourism Ministry to step in.
New Delhi is gearing up to play host to between 15 and 20 global leaders, over 50 ministers, representatives from 40-plus companies, and nearly 500 leaders from the global AI ecosystem, along with their entourages when they fly in for the India AI Impact Summit 2026. The week-long summit, scheduled from 16th to 20th February at Bharat Mandapam, is expected to be the largest of its kind so far and has reportedly received over 35,000 registrations spanning more than 100 countries. So it comes as no surprise that this has sent hotel prices across New Delhi through the roof. Screenshots from hotel websites and popular booking platforms show that rooms which typically cost around 20,000 per night in March are now being offered at over 1 lakh rupees per night. In addition, availability is restricted to just a day or two in many properties. At some of Delhi's top 5-star hotels, prices have climbed to extreme levels. For the summit period, top-end luxury categories are being quoted as high as 32 lakh rupees per night, while mid-tier premium rooms are priced at 19 lakh per night or more. On online booking apps, even the starting price for available hotels is hovering between 20,000 and 40,000 rupees per night, far above normal seasonal rates. Peak demand is especially visible on February 19th and 20th, when several 5-star hotels are sold out. Luxury suites and club rooms are priced even higher, often with strict minimum stay conditions. Marquee properties like the Leela Palace, ITC Maurya and Taj Palace have all raised tariffs significantly for the summit window. Hotels in central Delhi are seeing a similar spike in demand and in tariffs. Properties like the Imperial, Shangri-La Eros are nearly sold out between February 18 and 20th, with the handful of rooms still available are listed at steep prices. Travel platform Make My Trip, for instance, shows a room at the Imperial in Connaught Place priced at over 2.4 lakh rupees per night on February 17th. A room at the Radisson Blu, meanwhile, is listed at around 1.1 lakh rupees for that date. Taking cognizance of the surge, Tourism Ministry sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the government is holding a series of meetings with hotel associations. The concerns go beyond pricing. Officials are also worried about service quality, security arrangements, and manpower readiness to host thousands of global delegates. Hotels we reached out to regarding these meetings have declined to comment. However, sources say that for the government, this spike in prices is a cause of concern. While Delhi wants the global spotlight, it feels the need to balance demand with affordability and service standards because hospitality costs should not threaten to overshadow India's ambition to lead the global AI conversation. In New Delhi, Timsi Jaipuria.
Well, the Home Ministry has directed that all 6 stanzas of the Indian national song Vande Mataram be sung first when the national song and national anthem are played together at government events, government school programs and other formal gatherings. The 10-page order issued to all states and union territories on the 28th of January included the official version of the song. This version includes the 4 stanzas that were not included in the song adopted by the Constituent Assembly. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue on CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned. We're back with more right after this.